Good evening and warm welcome to all the viewers. This is me, Devsurbi Yaduvanshi on Democratic Dialogues. And with me, I have a very, very special guest today, Mr. G Devasahayam ji from Bangalore, who is a former Army and Indian Administrative Services officer and also an economist by education, and he's had an illustrious career spanning over 5 decades and direct experience with handling elections as well, along with him having fought for crucial wars for our country. So, warm welcome to you, sir.
Thank you.
Um, Sir, today, through this segment that we are having today with you as a guest, there are, serious concerns that have come forward in not just the past few months, like the past 6 months, but it's something that for years together has been under question. So, my first question to you today is that the serious questions have been posed on the entire electoral process, whether it is before, during, or after. Could you share what's happening exactly? Because we see voter, deletions from the electoral roll, voter additions, we see EVM manipulation, the percentage hike after polling closes. So, what is exactly happening, and what have you been fighting for all these years?
See, people like us, every citizen in this country, are extremely proud of the fact that India is a democracy, and it is an electoral democracy. Our system of election is very simple. Democracy is every 5 years, the representatives to the state assemblies, to the parliament, must be elected by the people. Because the core of democracy is the citizen is a sovereign.
Yes.
Citizen forms the government. Because we have large number of citizens, certain age limit is fixed, a maturity, beyond which you become a voter, you become the voting citizen. And these voting citizens give their mandate to their elected representatives. You go on our behalf, sit in the state assembly, sit in the parliament, legislate for us, govern the country for us. The mandate given by the people of India. They are the sovereign. MLAs by themselves have no powers as individuals. MPs by themselves have no powers as individuals. Prime Minister by himself has no power as a Prime Minister. Chief Minister has no power. Everything is given to them by the people of India. We the people, citizen. The first words of the Constitution of India, we the people gave to ourselves Constitution on this date. So this is a transfer of sovereignty. So when the sovereignty happens, through which the process of democracy takes place. For instance, the whole country of 140 crore people, with about 99 crore voting population, we have 543 members of parliament. Just such a small number. They represent lakhs and lakhs of people and go on. So that is the core. So when that is a core, is a sovereign who should decide, who should know whom to send, and that mandate should be the one that should be carried out. Over a period of time, Indian election, for that purpose, the Constitutional Assembly debated in great length. They wanted to, then they created a Election Commission of India, which is completely separated, independent of the political executive, because they are the one who control the political executive. Through the electoral process only they come. So they political executive cannot control the election commission, which is absurd. So election commission was formed. Then election commission was vested with plenipotentiary powers, statutory powers, Representatives of People's Act, and other kind of legal powers, and umpteen Supreme Court judgments, vesting vast amount of power to the Election Commission of India, unless there is a specific law by the Parliament directing the Election Commission to do a certain thing. Election Commission is free to do adopt any means, adopt any methods, take any decision to ensure free and fair election, which Supreme Court says repeatedly is a basic structure of the Constitution. Okay, this is the background. The importance of election, the enormity and the powers of the Election Commission of India. We had a single person election commission starting from 1951 onwards, then went on and on and on. Then in the mid 50s, T.N. Session tried to assert himself. Then they tried to fetter him through a multi-member commission. Three commissioners are there ever since mid 90s. Initially, we had paper ballots, and over a period of time, they said technology has come, technology has become efficient, and we'll bring in technology. They brought in the electronic voting machine. When the electronic voting machine became suspicious in 2009, they brought in VVPAT, voter verifiable paper trail. All these happened, and people were not raising any noise because people had a lot of faith and trust in the election commission. The process of election, the entire government machinery, the entire Indian administrative service, elite service comes into play. They are the one who are conducting the elections. And the
Yes.
entire Indian police service comes into play in support of them. Indian revenue service comes into play in support of them. So it is a people had full faith in the system. Now the faith started, what do you call that? The trust and the faith in the electoral system started gradually going down ever since the EVM was introduced. Because the basic principle is when there is something called democracy principles. As I told you, voter is a sovereign. Since voter is exercising her franchise, exercising a vote, she should have the knowledge and verifiability. It's very, very important. Very important point I am
Absolutely.
making for your viewers. The voter should have the knowledge and through knowledge verifiability that her vote has been cast as intended. She should know and recorded as cast and counted as recorded. Three basic essential democracy principles. The voter should know, not the machine,
Yes.
not the election commission, not the technical fellows. No, we don't care. The poorest of the poor, the lowest of the low, she should know. In paper ballot, it was there. Okay. Even the most uneducated person could pick it up and see, yes, my candidate is there, a symbol. Even if you can't read the name, you can see the symbol. And knowledge and verifiability. Then she puts a stamp, again sees knowledge and verifiability. Then she puts the vote and goes away. Counting also is done in a very transparent manner. The counting officer is sitting there, around the election agents are sitting there, everybody is shown the vote before putting into the tray. For every candidate, there is a vote. There's a tray. So everyone sees. So it is absolutely. Now, the electronic voting machine changed all that. It's a black box.
Yes.
You go to the booth, that presiding officer presses a button, you hear a button, hear a sound, you press a button, hear a sound and go away. That's all.
Yeah, you have absolutely no idea where your vote is
Yeah,
going.
this may be the best of machines. I have never criticized the machine because I'm not a technical man. I'm a student of economics. So I said, machine, I don't know. You keep your machine. We have no problem. But you can't use the machine for democracy. You can use it for college union, university union, like a trade union, okay, because there's no sovereignty there. Here I
Yes.
am transferring my sovereignty. I should know, damn it. So that's why you have your machines all right, first class, very easy. But I don't know. So that is where the whole trouble started. And it
Yes.
came in a big way in 2009. It's very interesting how rotten India's judicial system is, how rotten India's election system is, how rotten India's governance is. Let me tell you, I am being very blunt. 2009, this issue came up, not only in India, but in Europe also. Europe democracies are more advanced. Their countries are more technologically advanced. Simultaneously, the issue came up. Okay. In 2000, in India, Subramanian Swamy went to the Delhi High Court. Delhi High Court gave an order in 2011 or 2009, 12 saying casting doubt on the EVM. Delhi High Court order is still there. It caused serious doubts on the integrity of EVM, and they said we can't give you a solution. You go to the Supreme Court. He went to the Supreme Court. During the same time, 2009, this matter was heard in the German Supreme Court. They call it federal court. Europe was most of the European country was using EVM, and there they introduced they gave the argument, the technical argument, technology, blah 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 blah. The judges were absolutely clear. Don't talk about technology here. Talk about democracy. These are the principles. They lay down the principles. It was already there, but German Supreme Court laid down these principles. Are these principles are being adhered to in your EVM, in your technology? They said no, sir, unconstitutional. Simple. They did not waste their time. Electronic voting machine is unconstitutional if this cannot comply with these three. Okay. We feel ourselves India is, I mean, some kind of rotten notion in the minds of these people. They could have easily adopted the same judgment and given a judgment saying that listen, bring it about. They said, all right, we'll find a solution. Okay, good. If you're finding a solution, they issued the notice to the Election Commission of India, 2013. At that time, a very good friend of mine was a chief election commissioner, Qureshi, my junior and my colleague. He then consulted the technical people, political people. They said there is something called VVPAT, voter verifiable paper trail. Some paper which was written by some Harvard or MIT University professor way back in 70s and 80s. They dusted it out and saying, yes, we can introduce this, keep the machine, attach it with a VVPAT, voter verifiable paper audit trail, and give the required democracy principles. Okay. So after that, what happened was, if you have been voting post 2019, you press the button, a small slip comes for about
Yes.
7 seconds. You see the symbol, you see the name. So they say that satisfies. No, you have seen, and automatically it should be counted, right? Counting is the most important exercise in the whole electoral process. Counting is the most important exercise. Okay. So they showed that, though of course it was not a satisfactory solution. 7 seconds, how many people are seeing it? Particularly elderly people can't even see it. They're all right, you have shown something. But are you not counting it? So the election commissioners immediately who came after Qureshi was Sampath, another good friend of mine. They amended the rule, saying that yes, paper ballot is the real vote, paper slip. Paper slip is the real vote. So there was no, now there are two votes, only electronic memory, one is VVPAT. So VVPAT is the real vote. They said, all right. So automatically, see, everything cannot be written by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court gave a judgment. Bring in VVPAT. This is important for transparency, important for verifiability, essential for democracy, and they left it at that. The presumption was that the paper slip was shown for 7 seconds and papers will be counted,
Yes.
cross verified. Cross verified. If you want to count electronic count, cross verified. If you can't count 100%, you at least count statistically adequate number of cross verification. Where the statistical experts came and said 30% minimum. Minimum 30% of EVM should be counted for cross verified with VVPAT. Only then there could be accuracy. Otherwise, there can be fraud. Simple as that. All these happened in between 2014, 2015, 2019. Then the commission committed fraud. I openly saying again and again and again. The election commission, after this government took over, election commission, some chief election commissioners and deputy election commissioners committed fraud on the people of India by sabotaging the VVPAT. They refused to count the paper slip. They refused to count it. That thing will take 4 days, 5 days. उसका बाप का पैसा चलता है. Government servants are doing all the job. There are millions of
Sir,
government. Huh?
Sir, there have been cases where people have pressed, say, for example, the Congress hand button and the VVPAT has come out as Lotus. Even those incidents have happened.
That happened. That is why it was. That is why the democracy principles. In machine, anything can happen. You can manipulate. That is why the Supreme Court said you count the VVPAT. I mean, you bring the VVPAT. Okay. So this is not the only way. There are many other ways of manipulation. I'll come to that. So in order to prevent that manipulation, you cross verify with the paper slip. Matter is over. The election commission willingly sabotaged. Then what happened? The tragedy was what a certain stand taken by the Supreme Court. They take a totally different stand in 2019 onwards. That's what I'm saying. The institutional capture, the
Yes.
institutional rot that is taking place, prior to 2014, Supreme Court takes one view.
Hmm.
And post 2018, 2019, Supreme Court takes a different view. No need to count. No need to count this paper slip. Instead of one, count five. Instead of 0.5%, you count 2%. What is 2%? That was an ad hoc arrangement in 2019.
Negligible.
Then we sort of set up a citizens commission on election, gave out all the facts, and again went to the Supreme Court in 2023, 2024. Then they said no need for that. Supreme Court is cancelling their own orders,
Yeah.
and
This is
Supreme Court says you follow a certain system for selecting the election commissioners, and so government throws it out. Supreme Court is supporting that. Okay, already, you believe them. You believe them. Supreme Court has been instrumental in spoiling the whole system. They could have taken a consistent stand. Why they keep on changing their stand? Now also, whenever you go to them, dismiss. You भरोसा कर लो, election commission के ऊपर भरोसा कर लो, election के ऊपर भरोसा कर लो. So the point I am making is, you are talking about efficiency. I don't think there is any efficiency. If there has been efficiency, there cannot be such variation, such mismatch of the numbers, votes polled, votes counted. Then we said, well, when things were going so bad, so 2024, a group, some of our us got together. I said, let us look into the matter. So we found in Lok Sabha election,
yes.
79 constituencies, there was huge variation of votes, up to 2 lakh per constituency. So we said there's every possibility of stealing of the mandate of about 80 constituencies in Lok Sabha. Now, the
Yes.
80 constituencies, clear. The people's mandate is very clear. The mandate was in favor of the India bloc, not the BJP bloc. Very clear. Look at the seriousness of the problem. People have given their mandate in favor of the India bloc, but who is running the government?
It's BJP.
That is where the tragedy is. Now, secondly, that happened. We gave the report. We gave a notice to election commission. Election commission did not say, "Oh, you are being misleading. You are misleading," but they will not give a reply. They will not even. They will not even investigate. They will not even start an investigation. See, when you are when, when somebody is filing a complaint, are you not supposed to start an investigation?
Yes.
But and complaint is not vague complaint. We have given numbers, constituency-wise numbers.
Yes.
79 constituencies we have given numbers. I mean, in Andhra Pradesh, in Orissa, in Maharashtra, in Bihar, in Karnataka, we have given numbers. In Haryana, nothing. Then the election came, Haryana and JNK. Same thing happened in Haryana. Same, ditto, carbon copy. Nothing was done. Same, then continued Maharashtra. Now Maharashtra is happening. Maharashtra is in a much more brazen manner.
Yes. Yes.
But and because they have become bold. Because entire media is supporting them.
Yes, sir.
Government is supporting them. Supreme Court is supporting them. And opposition is important.
Hmm.
Sorry for using the word. Opposition is important. They are not even raising the correct questions. Long lost yesterday. For the first time, the Congress delegation has raised that question in Maharashtra. If they
Yes.
had raised the question in Lok Sabha, this problem would not have happened at all. Even now, opposition is not, they are not prepared. They don't know. They are chaotic because I feel opposition also is mixed up. There is compromise between the ruling party and opposition party. So the question that you raised is today the integrity of India's electoral process is in very, very serious doubt.
Yes, sir.
EVM is only one factor, and EVM is being only highlighted because of these numbers. There are other factors also. That is the truth.
Yes. Sir, I would like to quickly also ask you to comment on the fact that, and since I was also a part of the process because I'm part of civic society organizations as well, that there have been massive voter deletions from the electoral roll, especially of the minority community in India. And there have been also voter additions which are false. In Maharashtra itself, there are, I think, about 5 to 6 lakh new additions in voters that have taken
No, no,
place.
no, no. 39 lakhs by the admission of Election Commission itself.
39 lakhs. So,
Congress party says 47 lakhs. Election Commission says 39 lakhs. You are talking about 7 lakhs.
and so, sir, we are seeing, those Panna Pramukhs from the RSS side, they are
Yeah.
actually sitting down, who are getting
Yeah,
like handsome
this is
salaries.
this is another very important question. You see, there are three ways of manipulating the election results. Okay, one is registration manipulation, one is turnout manipulation, third is counting manipulation. Okay, I'll give you all the three, and your what you asked just now comes in registration manipulation. Now, registration manipulation is playing with the electoral roll, your convenience. Add or delete. I'll come to that little later. I'll come to that later. Second is turnout manipulation. Turnout manipulation, this padding, adding, 5%, 6%, 7%, 1%. No, that is turnout. You are manipulating the turnout. And second aspect of turnout manipulation is voter suppression. Don't
Yes.
allow certain people to come and vote. That is happening very often in Uttar Pradesh, particularly the minority community, Muslim community.
Yes.
So second is turnout communication. Third is counting communication. You don't count the paper slip. You don't count the paper slip. You can manipulate. So all the three manipulations are going on now in brazenly with the full connivance of the Election Commission of India. See, earlier under the paper ballot, also to some extent during the EVM time, there was some manipulation did take place. चोरी करके चुप गए with difficulty. Antisocial elements, these these mischievous characters,
Butchering.
corrupt characters, booth capturing, small scale it was going on. But
Yes.
chori chupke, because of the poor communication system, because of the poor transportation system. Now it is being manufactured, manipulated by the election commission with the full blessing. And the officers, they select, I think they pick up the whole country and pick up the people where compliant people are working there as returning officers. And most of the states have got BJP government. They can sort of issue virtual directives, and they're doing it. But now coming back to what the question that you asked for, the registration manipulation. How does it happen? As you said, deletion and addition. Now this is happening because of two reasons. Why deletion is happening? Deletion is happening at the women pleasure. As you know, there is one complaint, one fellow signed 250 forms. for deletion, in Maharashtra.
Yes,
But
yes.
this is not the first time. A similar thing happened in Karnataka before the assembly election last year. By the time I was earlier not in Bangalore, then I had moved down to Bangalore. Then I took up the issue. Then I
Okay.
checked up. I have a first-hand experience on this also. I checked up what is happening. Then I was told that they are misusing Form 7.
Yes.
This particular power to delete is given to the local official. What do you call that official? They call somebody that
BDO.
yeah, the both the sub officer. He has got the authority, can, but can delete it. So this kind of deletion is taking place. Large scale complaint is being given. In one case in Karnataka, one fellow gave after the final voting electoral roll was actually when after the final electoral roll was announced, you are not supposed to make any deletion. But the chief electoral officer entertained 9,000 applications. 9,000
My
in a
goodness.
constituency with predominant Muslim population and started working. Then people raised the noise. The news minute, the channel, this, what do you call that? The digital channel. They raised a lot of noise and they slowed down. But they started deleting names. About
Yes.
2,000 names were deleted. Similar, exactly same thing has happened in Maharashtra. So when
Yes.
I looked at, then I found out this power given to the local official, which is unconstitutional, which is very abrasive. So I went to the Supreme Court. But again, Supreme Court comes into the picture. I went to the Supreme Court saying that please strike down this rule. I think it's Rule 18. The power is Rule 18 of the electoral registration rules. I said, please strike it down. This is unconstitutional. Election Commission also accepted. No, look how the Supreme Court functions. The Election Commission also accepted, yes, such a rule is there. But we have issued directions. Look, he said, but we have issued direction to these returning officers and others that please issue a notice before deletion. Survey notice on the concerned person because see most of the people are laborers. They get up in the morning 7 o'clock, and even if some notice is formally given, they don't they are able to see it. But he said you must ensure that particular voter before deleting his name or people who are living there must receive the notice. So
Yes.
they said we have issued directives. We said, sir, election commissioner. We told the present chief justice was in charge of that bench. Our advocate argued because election commission has issued the directive, make it into a law, make it part of the rule because even the rule people don't follow. Who follows directive? He refused. Oh, Supreme Court has, election commission has already issued directive. Follow the directive. I mean, then they allowed the section 18 to continue. So the section empowers the local official to do it. Because it empowers, they do it in a very arrogant manner. Second point is the linkage of Aadhaar. Linkage of Aadhaar, we have been opposing tooth and nail. You link Aadhaar with voter ID, you can manipulate. Because Aadhaar itself is sometimes is a bogus document. There is a lot of complaints against Aadhaar. So election commission was originally opposing it. Then they started supporting it. They supported the government. They bring in the law. So now we have double whammy. We have section 18 of the registration rules, which empowers the local official to delete. We have Aadhaar linkage, which can allow anybody to manipulate across the table. So the electoral roll itself is in huge danger. That is the core of the voting system. Okay. Unless you have a electoral roll with full integrity, yeah, the first step is gone.
Absolutely.
Second
And
critical step is the EVM paper ballot. So second also is corrupted. So one is deeply corrupted, second is deeply corrupted, and the other supportive factors are two points I would like to mention. One is the money power. Money power, we
Absolutely.
have seen what is happening in the electoral bond, how what's happening, how black money is roaming around, how in Maharashtra they were being paid, I'm told, 7,000 rupees per vote and all. Money power is also vulgar to the extreme. Then moral code of conduct is not being complied with at all. The ruling party people can do anything and get away with it. So what kind of election are these fellows talking about? Why do we need this election commission? Why do we need this election commission? Which, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. People like us don't understand. And the media is supporting them, government is supporting them, Supreme Court is supporting them. Even opposition is not asking questions, and they call India is a democracy. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Absolutely. And what you said, sir, that also brings me to my second question now. What you've just said and shared with us is that, you know, before the appointment of CEC was done by the PM, the opposition leader, and the CGI. Now they've changed the process of appointing the CEC. It is now the PM, cabinet minister, and the opposition leader who appoint the CGI. So Rajiv Kumar has been appointed through that new process, which I think the CGI and the Supreme Court has said that it's unconstitutional. So how do we trust the CEC when the process itself has been changed to suit the ruling party? Because
There's
the
a
three
correction.
out of the
There's a
three, the
correction. There's a correction there.
yes, sir.
Rajiv Kumar was not appointed through this new process. Rajiv Kumar was there already. He was election
Okay,
commissioner. The two new
okay,
fellows were appointed. That is not the issue. The issue is the total system is flawed. The selection system. You see, I'll tell you, there again a massive fraud has been committed on the people of India. See, this matter was discussed in great depth during the constituents of the assembly. Great length. Almost top brains of the constituent assembly discussed this, and that is where we decided to set up an election commission. Election commission having been set up, that they brought it in the constitution, Article 324, and some related articles are there. Then they said, as far as the appointment of election commissioners concerned, Parliament shall enact a law laying down the terms and conditions and etc. of the election commissioners, wage, remuneration, wherever. They should have enacted a law. As far as this is concerned, Congress party is equally to blame as that of BJP. Because I don't want to mince any words. Because in the initial years, it was the Congress which was in power. And that too was an absolute power for some years. Jawaharlal Nehru, etc. They did not enact a law. They adopted the executive method of appointment. See, those days there was some kind of trust and faith. They used to appoint an ICS officer of impeccable integrity. Those days it was ICS. Then it
Yes.
was succeeded by the IAS. Okay. So they appointed initial because there was some faith, there was some trust. This
There was
distinguished
some
ICS of
ethics. There was
yeah,
some ethics at that time.
he said these distinguished ICS officers, then IAS officers who followed them are men of impeccable integrity. They will not indulge in fraud. But that kept on dwindling. Now the flashpoint came, maybe still Parliament did not enact a law. What they did was they picked up a top bureaucrat who retired a bureaucrat, ICS, then IAS, then appointed single person. Then in session time, it became a flashpoint. Session did certain things, and by that time, the political leadership also, the standard moral. Originally, we had a very high standard of political leadership also. Let's understand
Absolutely.
that. It's not only civil service. We had men of very high integrity in the earlier days.
Without a
So
doubt.
And then, these political fellows also, their integrity also started going down. Then there was a clash between Session and the government at the time. They said, all right, we cannot now allow one single fellow to dominate, make it three. So they make it three. Subsequently, it became three, but the system continued. Appointment from the bureaucracy. Normally, a secretary to the government of India who retires is appointed as the election commissioner. Went on and on and on. Then, this is what was challenged by the ADR in the Supreme Court. See, the integrity of the election commission is also in doubt. Their independence is being doubted. This, that. There must be a law. So, the Supreme Court went into the matter in great detail. Justice Joseph, I think. Yeah, he gave the judgment for 2 years ago. And he gave a very elaborate judgment. He gave a reference to the Constituent Assembly. Constituent Assembly decision was different. Constituent Assembly wanted a complete parliamentary system of appointment of election commissioners, mind you,
Okay.
not committee system, parliamentary system. They wanted a parliamentary committee, a selection committee to recommend to the parliamentary committee. Parliamentary committee must interview the candidates, make recommendations to the parliament, and parliament must pass a resolution. And by that too, two-third majority. Because what they said was the election commissioners should have the confidence of not only the ruling party but the opposition also. They suggest a parliamentary procedure. It was reduced to a committee procedure and then further reduced to another committee procedure. So the Supreme Court judge said, listen, all right, parliamentary procedure will be difficult to follow because we don't have that kind of system. We need a different kind of culture. So he said, all right, let us have an independent committee headed by the Prime Minister of India, leader of the opposition, and the Chief Justice of India. Chief Justice was brought in as a neutral person who will have no political interest whatsoever. So even that is followed through. See, that was the minimum. What I'm saying is, what Supreme Court judge could that be the barest minimum. Eh? And this fellow throw out and throw the Chief Justice and brought one more minister. I'm no home minister. It was a ridiculous kind of this thing. And then they appointed these fellows. So the entire faith process of selecting and appointing election commissioners is fraudulent. But even this, I am not in agreement with what the Supreme Court suggested. Supreme Court, I would say, political executive should have zero role. I
Without
am
doubt.
against, I am against the Prime Minister. I am against the Minister, even the leader of the opposition. No.
Because, sir,
My,
the
my, my,
basic
my, my,
principle.
my suggestion is, my
Oh.
suggestion would be, my suggestion would be, though the present vice president is a joker, once you become a vice president, you are vice president is indirectly elected, and he is supposed to be an independent person, can't be a partisan. Okay, so my recommendation is the vice president should be the chairman, and members should be Chief Justice of India and one senior most, second senior most judge of the Supreme Court, a former chief election commissioner, and one or two legal luminaries, 5 member. Political executive must be completely removed from the scene. That's
So,
my
sir,
suggestion. Now I am
sir,
told
I,
some.
I,
No,
I
no,
agree with what you're saying.
I'll just complete. I
Yes.
am told that some private member has introduced a bill in Parliament, Manoj Tiwari. He is suggesting a slightly different. He still brings in the political executive. The Constituent Assembly debate, if you see, they don't want political executives to be anywhere near the election commission. So how do you bring the Prime Minister, leader of the opposition down? Why? Why? What wisdom do they have?
No,
Actually,
sir.
election commission is supposed to control them.
Yes.
See,
Yes.
election commission is, let me tell you technically, may not take place. Today, election commission has got the powers to disqualify the prime minister and remove him. Don't you
Yes.
remember the Allahabad High Court judgment? Indira Gandhi.
Yes.
People
Yes.
forget. On a very minor thing, he unseated, and that led to emergency because I have just written a book on that. What happened during emergency? I mean, High Court. We are talking about Supreme Court. Yes,
Hmm.
High Court has throughout the election of Prime Minister, and you look at the crisis, led to emergency. So technically, Election Commission has got the powers to do that,
Yes.
and we want them to select these people, which is again very absurd in my view. It must be totally independent. Since Vice President, I am saying Vice President is supposed to be President can't be, because President is the appointing authority. Recommendation
Yes.
has to go to the President. So
Yes.
the least is Vice President should do. I think some kind of institutional integrity should be there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, what I was trying to say, in what you've shared, is that the principle of separation of powers is so important. Election Commission of India is an independent institution enshrined in our constitution, just as Supreme Court is a separate institution which has to have a separation and distance from the executive. So when we have, as you were rightly pointing out, when we have political influence in the appointment of the CECs in the ECI, and so many other methods in how the executive now is trying to push itself into institutions, it completely undermines how can we have a politician who has vested interest in gaining control of the ECI to then appoint CECs who will then carry out the elections. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's what is happening. That is what is happening tragically. And they say, Hamera Barosa Karo. And they say, same Supreme Court is saying, Barosa Karo, Barosa Karo. Barosa cannot be manufactured. Barosa
But
cannot be ordered.
why
Barosa
sir?
has to be earned. You have to earn the faith, earn the trust.
सर भरोसा निष्पक्षता के थ्रू ही अर्न की जाती है. आप
Yeah, yeah,
निष्पक्ष
yeah.
रहेंगे तो भरोसा होगा लोगों को.
The way you behave yourself, your attitude, your culture, your ethos. Rajiv Kumar says, Bharosa karo. Why should I? Bharosa karo. Do all the fraud and say, Bharosa karo. Because they see the problem is, as I said in another interview, there's a mafia which is
Yes.
protecting them. That's the problem.
Yes. Which so brings me to the next question that I wanted to ask. And you also briefly mentioned this before. The ECI has so horribly forced, like they failed in enforcing the model code of conduct, and in support of the divisive rhetoric of BJP. What are your views on the dereliction of duty by CEC, especially Rajiv Kumar in this 2024 election? And how are then the elections free and fair when you allow the ruling dispensation to say anything under the sun, whether it is, घुसपैठिए, mujra, mutton, machli, all of these things, there's nothing that they haven't said. Even now, recently, बटेंगे तो कटेंगे, एक है तो safe है. So, how are the elections free and fair?
See, the model code of conduct was established under the impression that there is some decency in electoral democracy and political parties. See, problem is here is there is no political party system in India. Political parties in India is the opposite of what democracy is about. They have no culture, they have no depth, they have no ideology. They are there only to grab power. They want to grab power. See, earlier you used to conduct election, and some of them gradually criminals started backing these politicians. Then criminals themselves became politicians. Why should we back these fellows? We ourselves become. See, ADR, Professor Jagdeep Chokar made an analysis, and he says A criminal has a better chance of winning election than a non-criminal.
Absolutely.
People are also endorsing criminals, thugs, pindaris,
Sadly. Sadly,
corrupt
very
people.
sadly.
See, that's a culture. See, somebody was nothing unique to India. USA, see, Donald Trump is one. My feedback coming from USA is many of these whites are finding a reflection of themselves
Yes.
in Donald Trump. they did not find a they did not find a reflection of them in Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris
Yeah.
was different. But they said, ये तो हमारा टाइप का आदमी है, वोट डाल दो. See, that's a tragedy.
Yes.
See, people have the value system is completely collapsed. Vast majority of the people have criminal mindset. They have axe to grind. They find these fellows, hey, हमारा टाइप का आदमी है, वोट डाल दो. वो तो बड़ा सन्यासी है, सन्यासी के क्यों वोट डालना है?
Hmm.
Sanyasi should be avoided. So the question is, when the politician, the all holds barred campaign takes place, they will indulge in anything.
Hmm.
And mind you, hate is the easiest sentiment that can be exploited.
Absolutely.
Lowest denomination. Love is very difficult to emulate. Very difficult. Hate is very,
It's
and
very
hate,
easy
hate is,
it's very easy to appeal to the animalistic part of the human
yeah,
brain.
animalistic part, and also amplify it.
Yes.
Take it further and convert them into what? That's the characteristic of the animal part, the lowest denomination, the lowest part.
Yes.
So that is what is happening, and they are exploiting that. And election commission, we have already discussed about election commission. Do you think this election commission is capable of enforcing anything? See, that's a problem.
But the
See, we are
funniest,
barking at the wrong tree. This
but so the
election
fun,
commission is incapable of enforcing anything.
but sir, sorry to disrupt
Yeah,
you in the middle. That the powers vested in the Election Commission of India are so immense when the MCC is in effect. They have the power to pull up anybody and everybody who is contesting election, whoever says anything. They didn't take any action against Prime Minister Narendra Modi for his Guspetiya statement. I mean, they have
that's what
immense powers. The
that's
government,
what I said. See, why session became a controversial question. Something similar happened during his time. What this fellow did was the thing which I would have loved. I would have done the same thing. He countermanded the election. Countermanding an election is a very, very serious step. That'll send shivers down the spine of anybody.
hmm,
Because after all the expenditure campaign, just before the polling starts, he countermands. Under the ground, that there cannot be free and fair election. This is a manipulated election, rigged with all kind of rot. So we will not allow the. So just voting is start at 7 o'clock. He issues the orders countermanding at 6 o'clock in the morning or the previous. So 2, 3 constituencies he did, and that's why the whole system, became so scared of him, and then they wanted to then cut him to size. So election commission has got the powers. Even now, see, we have now given solid. I'll tell you, Lok Sabha, we have given solid numbers of manipulation in 79 constituencies. It has all the justification for countermanding the election and holding re-election.
yes,
Okay. Now, why they did not do it? Haryana, we gave numbers clearly. Countermand. Maharashtra also. At least most severe cases, you do at least countermanding of 2, 3 constituencies. The whole system
yes,
will, the whole system will come to discipline. Now, see what happened. Look what the government is doing, what the election commission is doing. They have done all this under the orders of election commission. This village in Maharashtra, the villagers themselves said we will let us do the mind of the people by doing a paper ballot. What's the
yes.
problem? We are a democracy, man. They are not indulged in arson and loot. They are not killing anybody. They are not doing hate speech. They are not doing bombs. They were only sitting quietly with the paper ballot in hand. Then hum डाल के देखेंगे who is voted for whom. How?
And with
Police
their own
come
money.
with their own money, and then when big contingent comes, and they say sedition, sedition. Village people trying to assert democracy is sedition in this country. Where do we go? I mean, normally people are fed up with democracy, so-called this fraudulent democracy.
Yes, yes.
These villages, they have faith in democracy.
Mm.
They have faith in the voting system. They want to exhibit it to the world, and you call that sedition. If there is sedition, it is the top politicians who are indulged in sedition.
Absolutely.
Those who
And
manipulate
they've,
the vote, those who manipulate the votes, who manufacture the votes, they are the people who have indulged in sedition. They must be
yeah,
put behind bars. So
absolutely.
that's why I'm telling you. वो कहते हैं ना, what's the word that they use? That you know, what's the era that you call that dark era? That you know,
Middle Ages.
not even Middle Ages. We are in a very bad shape.
I couldn't agree more with you, sir.
Yeah, the concept of democracy, I don't know. And we call ourselves the largest democracy in the world. Man,
Sir,
mother of democracy.
sir, it
Yeah,
has become a joke. It has
yeah,
become a total joke. We have become a joke in the world. That is
yeah.
the ugly truth today.
And again, as I repeated the other day, I see media as enemy number one.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a
Without
reason.
a doubt.
There's a reason. You see, and opposition parties are enemy number two. Ruling party will do what they want to do.
Hmm.
They have captured power. Okay. And they want to retain it by any means. And
Yes.
they are indulging in any means. Okay. Now it is the media which has to bring it forward. Now, the media has become so rotten. They are asking me, they don't. Number one, they won't contact us at all. Number two, the moment they contact, they're so hostile.
Absolutely.
They're all agents of fascism. Most of the media in India has become the agents of fascism.
Yes, yes.
The
Absolutely.
question is now, an opposition does not have the courage or guts to question, except making small noises.
Yes.
And people do not know where to go and what to do. So that's the kind of situation we are in.
So
That's that's yeah.
I would like to ask my last question, sir. Based on whatever you've shared with us today and whatever we've discussed, you know, the burning question right now is how are we supposed to tackle this massive undermining of the electoral process going forward? Where will we get justice from? Because, in the process of our discussion today, and so many other people have said it, all the institutions are compromised. We cannot trust in any institution to do justice to their mandate. So what do we do? I perhaps I see a little bit of hope in what the villagers of Markadwadi did. It was immensely courageous. But what do we do going forward? Because there is complete stonewalling.
See, what happened in Markavadi was a kind of spark. See, there are sparks. When there are sparks, embers, it can build up into a fire. When
Absolutely.
there is no spark, there is no fire. So I am looking at it positively. There are sparks. Not only in that village, in other places also, people are talking. And now they are talking in Sulhot. They are behind the Sulhot because of fear. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear psychosis going on. Fear.
Absolutely.
Because of the total rot that has set into the institution. Normally, people are in a democracy. People are supposed to take relief from the institutions. Institutions sustain democracy.
Absolutely.
Institutions sustain law and order. Institutions sustain decent governance, not individuals. Individuals come and go. Not only go out of power, it can go out of the world also. It's in the hands of the enemy. See, imagine what happened. See, imagine, see, so it was such a sad thing. Remember what happened to Sanjay Gandhi? You people
Yes.
do not know. You people are too young. We know
We've read about it, sir.
the
It's,
kind of authority and the kind of dominance he was. And how many seconds did he took? And at an young age, hardly in his 30s, he was 30, he was mid 30s. Half a second. So individuals come and go. What happened to Indira Gandhi? I mean, she was an outstanding prime minister, no doubt about it. She was trying to do her best. What happened? What happened to Rajiv Gandhi? What sin did he commit? See, the question is, it's not in your hands. You come and go. So it is the institutions which sustain. So when you demolish the institutions, there is no guardrail.
yes.
Mob outcry and mob this thing, and decency in governance, law and order is institutions are the guardrail. If you demolish the guardrails, once you remove the guardrails, who defends democracy and who can defend you?
Absolutely.
Who can defend you? And the army cannot. Let me tell you, even the army will not. Army is for the people. So I don't want to say anything more than that. But institutional integrity is of utmost importance. They are destroying the integrity of all institutions, making them into a joke, making them into extension of RSS. That is not going to work. Neither in favor of RSS nor in favor of the ruling establishment. No, it's not going to work that way. Because India has seen through. And but then problem is that that's why again I said the main responsibility is that of the media and the opposition. And as of now, they have miserably failed in their job. Miserably failed in their job. If the government and the institution feel that they are under watch, I mean, this issue itself, let's see, this issue itself, which mainstream media is talked about. See, there was this election in Maharashtra. There was this election in Haryana. I'm talking about Maharashtra. Result came. BJP stuck a 90% strike rate. 90%. Unheard of. And next day, Hindu newspaper, Indian Express, 4 pages, 5 pages, rationalizing. Overnight they say Harijans have gone to NDA, the women have gone to NDA, children have gone to NDA, OBC have gone to NDA, everybody has gone to NDA because they announced some scheme it seems, some Ladli Behla scheme, some scheme. Everyone wanted, but then they couldn't vote. This is the way people behave. They are putting the people to shame. Just because 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees was given to women, they stood in the queue and when voted for the fellows.
Sir, that's
They have
not a
the mind of
rational
their
at
own.
all.
Totally media is supporting ready. तैयार करके बैठा हुआ है. Ream them. And none of this media raised one question about this variation. अरे कम से कम question तो पूछो. 8%, how did the spike of 8% take place? I mean, not even
Sir,
one media asked this question.
नो सर, दो
Everyone
तीन
said
परसेंट के वेरिएशन में ही सरकारें बदल जाती हैं. There is an 8%
half
variation.
a percent is more than enough. See, this is the same Lok Sabha election. We have given the numbers. We have given the numbers in Uttar Pradesh, considered among the most backward states, conducted 7 stages in election, except for one stage where there was a variation of about 3%. All the others, the variation was 0.5, 0.3, 0.6. UP, I am talking about.
Wow.
And then no, here in Jharkhand, another backward state, full
Yes.
of forests and tribals, less than 1%.
Yeah.
And Maharashtra is the most advanced urban state. You are talking about 8%.
7.86.
So, whom are you trying to fool? Whom are you trying? And media will not ask a single question. They make fun of people like us. Some of these
Yes,
media fellows, they make fun of people like us. Absolute slaves.
but
Media
sir,
has been completely enslaved.
oh, absolutely, sir, without a
My
doubt.
first anger is against the media. Let me tell you.
I agree with you. Sir, after 2016, I have removed the TV from my house. And I know many people like me who have removed the TV out of their house because looking at mainstream channels, the media channels, it is literally like inviting bile and vomit and venom into your own house.
Absolutely. I'm so rotten. Sometimes by mistake, I browse. By mistake. Even the fleet seconds I browse, it is so rotten. You won't believe. I have the
It's,
TV. It's not that I don't have, but I most of the time I go for other kind of programs so that I get myself educated. But
yes, sir.
sometimes I do browse. It's not only in English, Hindi, language, Tamil, language, everywhere. The rot
Yes.
is completely gone. And why electronic media, even the print media is equally worse.
Oh, yes, sir.
Even now the so-called social media also, some of them are rotten,
Yes, sir.
highly exaggerated, telling lies.
Yes.
So that's the tragedy we are in now. Let's see where are we going to end up. I don't know.
Yes, sir. So, thank you so much, sir.
Thank
I
you.
salute you for taking the time today and sharing your extensive knowledge, your analysis, and your take on what's happening in the country. And I also must salute you for the immense fight you've been fighting for years together before even the political powers took note. So, you and your group of people who've been doing this, civic society, ADR, so many other organizations who've been doing this, it hats off to you people for for being the protectors of democracy. And as you rightly pointed out before, individuals come and go, governments come and go, but the continuity of institutions and their independence is of paramount importance to the maintenance of a vibrant and effective democracy. So that's why my hats off to you for the work you've been doing.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you. Right.
Thank you, sir. And to all the viewers who've watched this segment today with Shri MG Devasahayam ji today, please do like, comment, subscribe, and share with people who would benefit from watching this conversation and would get to learn something about what's happening in our country. So this is me, Dev Surpi Yaduvanshi on Democratic Dialogues, signing off for today. Please do subscribe. This is how you support our channel. Thank you so much.